Hello, is this thing on? Grab a cup of tea. Welcome to episode 1 of Tea with Maya. That's me. If you're new to this page, hi, welcome. I think my story will unfold as we go through these episodes. I just want to let this naturally figure out what topics want to come up. There's something. Just had the most magical weekend with my family, basically. My little sister is a fucking genius. She is a composer, a classical composer, and on Friday, I watched her write a piece for one of her mentors who performed it. And not only that, her mentor performed it, and half the orchestra are family friends. She's known this man since she was 9. The rest of the orchestra has known our family and basically grown up with us. My sister, my other sister, my mum flew in. 2 of my mum's university friends, one from the UK, one from Australia, had flown in to be here at this concert today. And just the amount of people that came out of the woodworks to support her on this really special, really momentous fucking day. And to add another layer to it, it was dedicated to my father, who passed away 2 years ago quite suddenly from a stroke. He wasn't in the best ways anyway, and we'll get into that in future episodes, but he came out to the city when he was 21. He was a policeman through the 70s in Hong Kong. That was his entire career, and his nickname throughout the force was Maverick, obviously from the Tom Cruise Top Gun Maverick movie. He was Maverick. Danny's piece was called Maverick. It was played by his best mate, Richard Bamping, who was the principal cellist of the orchestra. It is a cello concerto written by Danny in the city that has been our home for so many years, just at a time where, like, we're all closing chapters on an old phase, and all 4 of us kids, I'm one of 4 siblings, so there's 3 girls and 1 brother, and it's just felt so incredibly magic. And if you haven't come across me, I write a daily newsletter called The Pulse, so jump in there for more of my written thoughts around the business side. But, just back to life. Like, life is really what you make it. And I feel a big calling to help people with innate talents and creativity see that, building online is an option and a feasible, viable option. And I've been slowly building my web of, stuff online for many, many years too. I realized quite a long time ago that I enjoyed this process of posting, creating, telling the story and sharing snippets and showing the beauty in my life and presenting it to others. I thought it was a beautiful way to keep in touch with everybody, especially from, like, being born and raised in Hong Kong as a Hong Kong kid. You very quickly realize that you don't have the same upbringing as other kids, in the sense that you're with the same people all the way through childhood, all the way up. Like, in rare cases, you have a few that have sort of come through the whole way, but more often than not, every 2 years, every 4 years, there's a big churn, especially in expats and especially within the, education system. But just closure. Dad's anniversary is next month on June 6th as well. And something about the last 2 years since his passing, and the whole family has come alive, as we've also felt his presence more present in our lives on a daily basis. I remember, God, it must have been about 6 months ago. It was before we went to Italy, so it was about last summer. I was just getting so fed up of thinking about Dad every single day. I was on the phone with my mum and I was like, what the fuck is happening? I was like, when he was alive, I didn't think about him every single day. Like, you've got people in your lives, and because you know that they're there, they don't necessarily pop on your radar every single day. They come in and out. You catch up with friends, you catch up with family. But since he has died, every single day, he has been on my mind. And his story and his life and what he experienced. And I think obviously going through this process, again, anybody that tells you that this isn't self-development, on crack is wrong. They've never tried it, or they tried it and realized it is, and then fucking chickened out and stopped, and have gone and found themselves another hole to, I don't know, rest in. It blows my mind how much fear there is around this, even though now this is becoming the new currency of what's possible. I think, again, you'll start to get to know me as we move things forward, and this is kind of the whole point of all of these. I must remember to actually drink my tea. That's kind of my rule with this. Like, tea with Maya, you grab a tea, I grab a tea, we sip and we chat, we play it, we, contemplate the world, set the worlds to right, and then we carry on with our day. And but if I don't actually drink it, I'll never finish talking. Or it would end up being a very awkward stop. Anyway, circling back. This is how my brain works. 14 different tabs open. Let's just figure out which one we want to talk about now. But I think one of the biggest things I was trying to find within the self-development groups, I was searching for the secret. I was searching for the missing key. I thought that if I could figure out the key, then I could help others get out of their misery and solve the problem. Like, what is the actual key, the universal key that helps people get from here to here? I remember the first time it sort of picked into my book, I was staring at it, peeked into my mind, like that sort of process. I was looking at one of those Tony Robbins books, and if any of you know his story, he went from homeless to what he is now. And I remember there was a period of my life where I was living in London with my sister in Earl's Court, and we were in very high survival mode, but also very high entitlement mode. And it's quite funny to look back now. Again, they say that, what's that thing? If you were to pretend that your life is being projected on a movie screen and you were sitting and watching it right now, what would you from the sofa be shouting at the main character to do that is so fucking obvious that they just can't realize because they're in it? There are a couple of things that were pretty obvious back then. One being that we never budgeted for cigarettes, and then we always wondered why there was no more month at the end of the money. That was the biggest one. Two was that we were mistaking the planning of the work for the doing of the work, or we were getting very excited in the planning of the work that we were exhausting ourselves and losing time for then actually the doing of the work. And the planning of the work feels very much like the doing of the work. Again, you can dwell on stories for however long you want. I think everybody has their phases and chapters, and I've definitely lived some very colourful ones and some very high idiot intensity ones versus also high wisdom ones where I refuse to do more for somebody when I know I'm being undermediated and undervalued. I very quickly have realized, like when I had my spine injury, 25, again, another story we'll get into later, and I ended up having to find work through other people. I remember very quickly reminding myself I would rather wait tables as soon as I can stand up and move than work for somebody that I don't enjoy working for just for a paycheck. If I'm going to be doing work for just a paycheck, go wait tables, go do something else, because the net effect of being in an environment where you don't know who you're going to bump into, somebody, every night's different, that learning about people, it was very much suited to me. My sister and I did a summer in Ibiza, working the tables at Ibiza Rocks on San Antonio waterfront. And looking back now, that was such a ludicrous summer. That'll have to be a whole episode in and of itself. But just the people you meet, the things that you do, the efficiency levels, and anyway, I love that sort of stuff. But it's always sort of saved me because I have, whenever I've gotten to a point where I feel miserable in what I'm doing, I remind myself of that. I remind myself that nothing is worth being miserable for it indefinitely. And I think that's where I've never understood these people that can stay in one place for 18, 16, 20, whatever years, doing the same thing. It's the Groundhog Day for me that kills it and kills me from the inside out and slowly kills my soul. But the train of thought that I've been leading to now is, I think somewhere along the way, I'd associated this Groundhog Day and this commitment to a routine as some sort of discipline that I didn't like. And I think it's hindered me a little bit in the last 3, 4, 5 years, where I've been pushing against my own inner authority, where I know I thrive in routines that are good for me, but by forcing myself into a routine, I've associated that with sucking the fun out of it without realizing that it does that if it is a fun-sucking event. But if you're building the pieces in a way that the routine and the reps that you know you need to get done allows you for more time and space for the life-fulfilling things and life-fueling things, not the fun-sucking things, you actually understand that that's not a, like, oh, I have to do it type thing. It's very, again, coming back to kind of the being your own entrepreneur and being your own boss, it's very interesting the mind games that we can play on ourselves, where it's like, don't tell me what to do. But I also want somebody to tell me what to do because I don't want to think right now. But it's like when you have a list and you tell me what to do, I don't want to do it because I want to rebel against the fact that I'm doing it. You have to let me know in the comments if any of those fucking, bring light bulbs for you guys too. But it's interesting. It's interesting, the mind tricks. And I was saying to a friend, Jake, again, friend I've never met through online. It's become one of my best friends online. This is another reason why I was actually really excited about testing this format, because I reckon if we can have tea for a couple of months together and I can really tease out some of these ideas and concepts and see what's coming back. Actually, we'll get into that in a minute. Just pop a pin in it. But I was chatting with my friend Jake. This was it. We were coming through, like, when you've lived in survival mode for so long, which is where a lot of people turn to building businesses online, and which is where I feel that the lines have been very crossed in terms of the quick fix with money versus the actual substance of building something quickly of substance that can make you a lot of money. And in hindsight, 6 months to a year to 2 years to 3 years, like, that is quick when you can think of actually how low you're probably at right now in terms of a life that you don't really want or realize you didn't sign up for, but you've tolerated for too long. When you start to come out of the fog, it's weird because it happens slowly and then it feels like it's all of a sudden. It's that quote they say about sleeping, right? As you're falling asleep, it happens slowly, and then all of a sudden, like, you don't actually remember the moment the night before that you fell asleep. You went to bed, you closed your eyes, and somewhere in there you drifted off. And that change from being conscious to unconscious, and then being unconscious to conscious when you wake up. That's kind of how it feels coming out of the fog, where you realize you've been in survival mode for so long, and then you've been doing all this work to calm your nervous system, to put in the reps, to change your mind, to focus on and then suddenly you look around and you're like, shit, it's rendering in real time. It's not quite there because we're very good at nitpicking all the things that haven't showed up very quickly. We're completely disregarding the amazingness that we've already usually fucking attempted by deciding to make things shift. And because we're in it, you're staring at it, you're so close, you can't see the trees for the forest or the wood for the trees, or, you're in it, right? Like, it's hard. There's not much to navigate when you don't feel like I kind of explain it like looking here. When you can't see the horizon, when you can only see 5 feet ahead of you, it's very difficult to be living in the horizon. But once you've seen that bird's eye view and then you can come back down, the daily execution then doesn't require as much force. It's a different pull. The daily execution comes from this inner need and drive and want and desire and curiosity and light that just it's fired by something different. It's not fired by duty and shoulds and forcefulness. It's just different. This is, again, I feel like coming along this journey back to Tony Robbins' sort of scenario with going from homeless to being what he was built, I got to the point where I was reading all these self-help books. I'm staring there at a book. They've got their name on it. Their lives have been changed, but a lot of them, a lot of the ones I was reading have gone from homeless or abuse or, horrific childhood things. Like, fuck, even the guys now. I mean, even fucking, bless my heart, Dakota Robinson. He is such a fucking special egg. Like him, Dan, and J.K. Molina, they've been lights on this. I don't think any of them actually truly understand the ripple effect that they've had. Like, yes, the numbers are there. Yes, they've all got the big accounts. Yes, they've all hit the certain money goals and stuff. But I think in terms of age catching up, it's going to be very lovely to see what happens in these next phases, because these guys are building entire new generations for what's to come. And to see people that value the client, the cold hard reality of changing somebody's life, of cash collected, not just thoughts ideated on and then shuffled down the road again. And this comes, I guess, comes back into, well, what I was looking for in those books, and the bit that was always missing is like, what did you do in between the homelessness to the first rent or paid rent, or how did you get from the homeless to the first car? Like, how did you get from that? It's not even how did you get from there to the top. It's like, well, where did it cut? And, where is that? Like, how did you go from nothing to something? And it's always the bit that's not documented, because it's the bit that can't be documented, because it's the bit that only we know what we are capable of in a given moment. And I think that's the only really scary thing, is when your life and your training hasn't prepared you for the moment that you're in, and you realize that there's a discrepancy. But when you can trust that whatever life throws at you, you can pivot and maneuver and plot twist your way out of it no matter what happens. Like, you start to get into this phase where you're able to have a bit more fun with the risk and the audacity that you're taking, because you realize that if it's a no, it's a lesson, and if it's a yes, you're like, got away with that one. Got away with that one. But yeah, if you haven't looked at any of those three, go back into their stories. But I mean, Dakota, I'm pretty sure I saw recently as well. Not pretty sure, I know, because I remember and I pay attention to these things. I think his dad's also passed away now, took his own life again recently when he overdosed. But I mean, his parents, both crack addicts. He was raised in a caravan, whatever, with the last time he saw his mother. Like, there's a whole story, he's written it so beautifully. If you don't know about him and his story, go have a look. And what that man has accomplished and what he has done and what he has helped other people do, and the goofiness and the silliness and the fun and the love that he's brought back into this world. And he's now just married an absolutely stunning woman. And together, I mean, the content that they've been creating is so fun to see. And I can see that they're also going to figure it out together and help each other make sure that they don't die in the process. You can already see the pivot changes. And I think that's even extra special. Again, your relationships come so much into play on this journey, and finding the people that you want as your F1 team, that you can link arms and go, right, we're doing this, we're building this shit, all right. Like, everybody go grab your Lego sets. Like, what are you building? What are you working on? What are you doing? And the biggest thing I've realized at the moment that, I said to myself, especially after fucking the 4 years that I built a marketing agency with a wrong business partner, I was like, I never want to feel like I'm in that position again where I'm dependent on somebody else. I've always wanted autonomy, or like full autonomy. That's why Dan Koh's work sucked me in straight away. It was the solopreneur, it was the digital economics, it was the business. And now with what's caught up with AI, I think it's even more possible now. Lean team, yes. Look, a small team, 2, 3, you and a VA, I'm realizing or even just you and a VA is enough, but there will always be one other person, which means at some point, scales, systems, offloading, not micromanaging, delegation, like the actual skill sets of leadership that have to come into play, that you need to step up and learn and sit in and be in. It's like all the shitty little am I worth it? What are people going to say? I'm not feeling very pretty today. I'm not like, nobody cares. Like, nobody cares. The quicker we can all, I say we, tea with Maya. This is what it is. We're having a tea. We're having a session. These notes are everything I wish I would have, not even would have. I've honed, like, what's crazy is that I've known these lessons from even when I was starting to build my agency with my old business partner. I knew we weren't right together, and I knew my plan was always to come up, figure it out, and you know, work my way through, hand it over, wrote it into a pack, and go, okay, thanks, bye. And it got to the point where he wanted me trapped in a role that I was refusing to stay trapped in. And he was then refusing to charge clients enough of a buffer so that we could actually scale the business, which is bad business. It's just bad math. Like, it got to the point where we couldn't pay for even 5 freelancers to help with some of the load when we needed it. We were just getting more and more and more and dealing. And I was the entire graphics team and account management team, and he was the entire video editing team. And it was like, we're busting at the seams, and we're sitting there saying clients won't pay for certain stuff, yet we're also sitting in a city that spends hundreds of thousands of dollars at the drop of a hat for a campaign when they know it's worth it. And working and living and knowing people that, anyway, it was all a bit of a mind fuck, but that's a whole nother chapter, again, for another episode. But working with the wrong people, I guess back to that, like finding your people, finding people online, linking arms, F1, everybody play with their own Legos. The autonomous side of it is that I still feel, and I got annoyed with my friend the other day, I was like, until we are all fully functioning and like having fun by ourselves, we're not ready to play with each other yet. Like, I've met so many amazing individuals online, and I feel like there's a point where you can very easily shoot yourself in the foot and stop creating as a solopreneur, because it can very quickly turn into shame of, why have I been trying this for so long and not succeeded? Because you do get to the point where the only loop that you come back to is you are the bottleneck. You are the bottleneck of your life and of your business. All of it. All of it. So what are the actions that you are doing right now that are going to render in real time a few years down the line that you want to make sure is rendering properly? And I think that then again ties back to just that Friday night with my family on the thing. It's like that piece, when you look at everything that goes into making a moment, was sort of in fruition and in the making when she was 9 years old. She is 32 now. 32, that's actually the same age that Richard was when he landed in Hong Kong. So he landed in Hong Kong at her age. And now at her age, she's writing him a piece. Like, I'm so notorious for blocking my own creativity and getting stuck in the how. How does this make sense? How does it work? And I think it's a gift and a curse, because pattern wise and logically wise, like I've struggled calling myself a coach. I've struggled calling myself something, because I don't want to sit here and promise people results that I can't promise, because it is dependent on you doing the fucking work. So until I know that you're going to do the fucking work, what am I going to promise? And also, promise what? Because if we move through certain layers, your initial current 5-year plan could be completed in a year, or God knows it, like less. Or we could go along the plan, 3 months into it, you hate the plan, and now something's happened and the plan needs to change. So why spend so long planning for a future that's not even here, or not even like not even a possibility that we can comprehend, because our current frame of mind does not know what we are capable of. And so until we are capable, the way I see it is like, until we are capable of doing this part and unlocking the receptivity of the next level, let's not plan for that. Let's not plan for step 10 problems when we haven't figured out step 1. And something I enjoy doing with my clients, especially when we start, is really figuring out 2 financial kind of goals. One for now money and one for future money. Because I think this is where the crux of this game also gets really difficult. You have to play a long-term game daily that you do not see any results from for like years. for years. And at the same time, you're panicking in a situation that you're in now because you're envisioning the life that you know that you can have, but it's still far away, but you're currently stuck in the life that you don't want. And the person that has to create the life that you do want is this current version of yourself that is not currently capable, but in your head you know you are. And the problem then is, if you get stuck in the planning, which is where I have now been for the last 8 years, when you get stuck in the planning of your own brilliance, you miss the days of doing the reps. And then you get to, 2-3 years down the line, and you're like, shit, what do I got to do? And it's like, no, you just got to do the daily reps. And then it's like, oh, how do I make it easier? It's like, it's not about making it easier. It's about making it smoother. And it's like, oh, not even about making it smooth. It's like, how do you make it part of your daily activity? It's like, oh, it has to become a pulse. I was seeing, that's why I called my newsletter The Pulse. That felt right, like it's like a heartbeat. That's my goal this year, is a daily newsletter. A daily newsletter every day? Well, that's what daily means. A newsletter daily. January 1st, I have been posting a newsletter daily. I think I can count maybe a handful of days that I've missed, and it's because I've been flying, notified, or, yeah, and even then, usually I'm still managed to get something out in 20 minutes and send it. But again, even that, like, I sat there at Christmas at the end of this year going, oh, woe is me, I have no fucking clients. I didn't want to... Oh, well, maybe because I haven't fucking told people what I do or where... And I'm watching these other mentors and people online or just other creators, and I'm like, they've done it. And what is the difference between what they've done and what I'm doing? They've posted. They got it out. They got it out. Anyway, I think this is a nice enough little intro for episode 1, but Tea with Maja, coming at you live. Not live yet, but the recordings. They're going to be unfiltered Monday to Friday, minimum, let's see. But Monday to Friday, let's start with that. Having a chat about creators. If there's any questions or any things that you've been ruminating as a long-term creator who knows the online path is for you, but you still feel like there's something holding you back, you're aware enough to know that there's something holding you back, but you're also looking for some people to make this a little bit more fun, because man, oh man, there are going to be tough days no matter what you do already with the things that you love. And so minimizing all the worry and all the crap that is so unnecessary just frees up all these energy storages to focus it on the right things. And this is where I feel called to help people. I feel called to help people on the right things, moving forward with their feet on their ground, but their heads in the fucking clouds, because what is possible is so, like, we don't even know. We don't even know. And, you know, delaying it by another couple of years, you're only going to feel way more behind with the rate that technology and things are moving. And I know one thing for sure. This skill set, human connectivity, human connection, is never going to go out of fashion. All right? And these are the people and these are the humans that you are helping. So, don't forget about the human. Remind yourself that you've got this. Like, that's why I call myself a wing woman. I also realize I'm a big cheerleader. Like, if you feel like you're in the dumps and you feel like you've been in a dark place for a long time and you're struggling to see the light, but you know you want to get out, comment, write something. I want these discussions to be open and around certain topics that help people as well. Tomorrow I have a really interesting one though. I got married the other month, February, and I've been getting some odd questions. So I think we're going to dive into that tomorrow. But who knows? Let's see. All right, 29:29 on the timer. I feel like I want to wait for it to be exactly 30 minutes. And then I got to do what? I got to put a thumbnail on, I got to upload it and get it out. Tea with Maja, episode 1. Nope, 15 seconds, we're going to wait. And that's the last of my tea. feel like I'm downing a shot. Wait, 5 seconds. Boom.